Hey everybody, this is Rob again. Today we have another video game unboxing, and this one is for, and I hate to say this out loud because it sounds so dumb, the SupaBoy. And if you haven't figured it out by now, just by the name and or the picture, it is a portable Super Nintendo. I mean, I get it. It has boy like Game Boy and Supa for super. I mean, okay. It does convey what it's supposed to do, but it's just a really bad name. There's so many other things they could have called it, but I understand they can't call it Portable Super NES. They don't have the rights to do that. But that's in fact what it is. It's a Super Nintendo / Super Famicom, which is just a Japanese name for Super Nintendo, compatible portable gaming unit. It does have TV output, so you can use this as a substitute, or in a pinch, just use it as a Super Nintendo. You can hook up a pair of AV out cables and just use it to play Nintendos on your game. On your TV. It does support external controllers, so that's what these are here. Or if you're playing it as a standalone, you can just use the controller that's built into the unit itself. And as you probably already noticed here, it does have a rechargeable battery, so it doesn't run on AA's or AAA's or C batteries or anything like that. It actually has a portable battery. From what I understand, I read a little bit about this. It actually has, I think, a lithium-ion battery that is equivalent to certain batteries in cell phones. And this version is a version 2, and the version 2 is charged by a mini USB cable. So it's in fact very similar to a portable cell phone battery. What else do I know about this thing before I open it? The version 1 had a different different power AC adapter. I went to the Hyperkin site and I saw this little version 1 power supply, and the version 2, again, the version 2 has the mini USB. I'm not really sure what other changes there were between version 1 and 2. I have seen other unboxings of the original one, or at least the older one to this, and it had a clear packaging so you could see the unit itself. This one seems to follow. These guys also make the Hyperkin. The Hyperkin guys also make the Retron 5 and all the Retron consoles, which are basically emulators for retro game consoles. I also have a Retron 5. I didn't make an unboxing video. I got that quite a while back. But essentially what that is, it's supposed to play Super Nintendo, Genesis, Game Boy. Gosh, I forgot what the other ones were. I don't know, an NES. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It played at least 5 different systems, but it was all in emulation. So I imagine this is probably along the same lines. It's probably emulating it. I don't know if it has a system on a chip, like a lot of the Nintendo clones are basically a system on a chip. But I don't know if this is a system on a chip or it's just running like a mini PC with an emulator. But in any case, I got this for free, so I have to take that into account. This runs about 80 bucks if you buy it on Amazon. You can find them discounted here and there. My local video game store, or retro video game store, Game Over Video Games here in Austin, does carry this for 80 bucks. And the reason I got this for free is because I won a Street Fighter 2 tournament. So I'm an old school Street Fighter 2 player, and Game Over Video Games has a classic Game Fest, retro game festival every year during the summer. Normally I miss it because I think the last 2 years they had it during EVO, and I was at EVO, so I couldn't go to it. So this year they had it the weekend after I returned back from Vegas, which was 2 weekends after EVO, and so I was able to attend. Actually, it might not have been during EVO. It might have been just like around EVO time, and since I go to Vegas for a couple of weeks, I think I've just been missing it. But I hadn't been there in a few years to the Classic Game Fest. But this year they had well, they probably had it before, but this year I was able to attend the Street Fighter 2 tournament, and there were 51 players, and we played on a arcade machine and single elimination, and etc. etc. I ended up winning, so I ended up with this as a prize. I'm pretty sure that Game Over Video Games donated it because the second place prize was a gift certificate to Game Over Video Games. But anyway, that's how I came into possession of the SupaBoy, because honestly I wouldn't have bought it otherwise. But I hear good things about it. If you look on Amazon, it actually has pretty decent reviews. Some of the things you might be concerned about is the control pad. Third-party controllers are always kind of mostly miss. Sometimes you get a good one, but you know, I actually played with one at the Game Over Video Games booth at the Classic Games Fest for just like 30 seconds, and it felt okay. This thing's actually much lighter than I thought it was going to be again. So let's go ahead and take a look at the box real quick. If you watch any of my videos, you know I'm very long-winded. I like to talk. I like to give you backstories. So I'll try to speed that up just a little. So again, SupaBoy portable Pocket SNES console. Actually, you know, if you're going to the trouble of saying Pocket SNES console, you might be able to give it a different name than SupaBoy. I don't know. I just don't like the name. Play like it's 1991, or if you're Japan, 1990, because that's when the Super Famicom came out. Yeah, nothing really out of the ordinary here. Let's look at the back. So at home or on the go, the SupaBoy plays your favorite SNES and Super Famicom cartridges anywhere, anytime. Whether it is a portable or a home console, SupaBoy is the best choice. I would argue against that. I believe my Super Nintendo Mini with RGB enabled is the best choice when I'm playing at home, but you know, I appreciate the confidence you have, Hyperkin. Let's see what we got here in this diagram. We have so it has an on-off switch, which makes sense, an AV out. Yeah, makes sense. R button, L button, reset. And then the start and select buttons are over here on the left. Normally they're in the middle. And then you have your face buttons, X, Y, A, and B. And then you have your two ports, first controller port, second controller port, the volume knob, then the cross pad. You know, I should look this up, because as much as I'm into retro video games, a lot of companies didn't make cross pads like this. Back in the 80s and 90s, and I always thought, and I mentioned this before, that it was because Nintendo owned the patent for it, and that's why you had stuff like the Genesis, which was really a circle with a crosspad on top, or you had the PlayStation, which was like a crosspad underneath, but it looked like 4 buttons on top. And but you know what? No, not even the TurboGrafx. The TurboGrafx had the Genesis thing going, where it was a circle with a crosspad on top. So I don't know. I don't know if their patent ran out. I need to look into this. Or people just decided to say, screw it, I'm going to go ahead and make a cross-pad. I don't care what Nintendo says or what. But anyway, I like that it has a real cross-pad and not one of those bogus ones. Anything else on the back? No, I mean, I'm sure it says the same thing in other languages. Not really anything else. So let's go ahead and get to opening this sucker up. So no tape there. That's kind of cool. I did look up the weight to this thing. It was like 11.5 ounces. It's pretty light. Yeah, looks like I'm going to have to remove some tape after all. So here's my utility knife. Get through that. There we go. So, what's this? Okay, more tape. No problem. So, okay, we're done with the tape. I don't know why I guess it is kind of Hyperkin-y that they have, all the boxes kind of have this little indentation. But so this is cool. Looks like a carrying pouch. What's under here? Looks like we got the AV out cable. This looks a lot like the cable from, what was it? The PlayStation 1, the little one. I think it has a cable very similar to this. So this doesn't look like 3.5 millimeter. It looks like a 2.5 millimeter, or maybe it's proprietary. I don't know, but it doesn't do S-video. It doesn't do RGB. Obviously, you know, why would it? But you know, if you in a pinch, if you need a home console and you only have a SupaBoy available, it will do that. So that's kind of cool. And AC adapter, and well. So it's not a micro USB, it's a mini USB, like the one on the PlayStation 3, it looks like. So I bet a PlayStation 3 recharge cable would work for this. What else do we have? Rechargeable lithium ion battery, 22 milliamp hours, 4.2 volts. So again, you could probably find this very battery is probably in a lot of different kinds of cell phones. So if you went to a cell phone store, you could probably find this, or maybe even from their site, I didn't check, and you can keep spare ones around. It's supposed to last for 5 hours. I've heard anywhere from 3 to 5 hours. So we'll see. But it's kind of cool that it doesn't run on AA's and AAA's, because those things just, you just end up spending a whole bunch of money on those unless you go rechargeable. But it's cool that they give you a rechargeable battery. I like that. What do we have here? This is the English instruction manual, or at least as part of it, and French, etc. Of course. So I'm pretty sure I can figure this out. You put the battery in. Yep. You have to open up the battery compartment to put the battery in. That makes sense. You plug it in. You turn it on. Yep. That all makes sense. Put the cartridge in where the cartridge goes. I think pretty much anybody could figure this out. Should be straightforward. But well, let's give it a shot. Let's see if I run into any trouble. I'll have to refer back to the manual, although I doubt it. So that looks kind of cool. I mean, the box is kind of cool. All right, so let's look at the SupaBoy itself. Again, this nifty little pouch, I like that. So here we have the unit itself, and it is quite light. The buttons feel, I mean, you can tell they're not official Nintendo buttons. They don't have that feel. It doesn't have that quality that you would expect from first-party controllers. But as far as third-party controllers go in buttons and cross-pad feel okay. I don't know how it's going to feel in game, but it's not bad for right now. Here's your cartridge port. It's a nice big cartridge port, so it fits Super Famicom and Super Nintendo games. So the Super Famicoms have a slightly different shape, but the pinouts are exactly the same. And here is the charging port, DC in 5 volts, AV out for this thing, the on and off button, and here you have a headphone jack and the volume control, and LED. Oh no, why do you do that? You already have a clip. These things, I started noticing these screws on battery compartments on my kids' toys a few years ago. I don't know for how long they've been around because, you know, I haven't had kids my whole life, but they're super annoying. Every Christmas morning, it's like, where's the screwdriver? I gotta open up this stupid thing. Okay, so, I don't think this comes off. See, maybe I should read the instructions. Nah, we'll figure it out, right? I can see where the pinouts are. So let's just drop it in there. Maybe we should do it the other way. This is where reading the instructions probably wouldn't help anyway. It probably just says put it in there. I'm not going to verify it. I'm going to be a rebel and just stick it in there. Alright, let's screw this stupid thing back in. Okay. So it's not going to work until I plug this in. I did notice that, so I'm going to put a cartridge in here, and there's Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, or Turbo. That actually fits kind of nice and snug and not too, well, actually, I mean, that's reasonable. It's not like it's impossible to take out. It snaps in nicely, it's pretty firm. Wiggles just a little, but it feels okay. What I think is a strange design is that you put the AV out and the DC in, or the adapter, in the front. Like, you know, that's gonna look really awkward if you want to use the machine as a home console, right? You probably want to plug it in. I mean, that looks really ugly, in my opinion. Why put that there? Why not put them in the back of the machine? Especially on a version 2. Like, maybe version 1, you're like, okay, you know, the engineer wasn't really thinking about it, but, I mean, come on. Why would you do this? Kind of dumb, right? Put them in the back, or, you know, here on the side or something. I don't know. I don't know why they made that design decision. As far as controller ports, let me get a couple of Super Nintendo controllers. Alright, I'm coming. Oh, of course, I was unwinding them. I got stuck on the stool. Okay. So I just want to see how these plug in. Not how they plug in, but how they feel when you plug them in. If they're Feels okay. I mean, they're firm and not too difficult to pull out. So it feels okay, but let's see. Okay, so a Super Nintendo controller versus this. I mean, I understand the bulk of it makes it feel a little different, but just the buttons, it just feel better, right? But that's kind of to be expected. I mean, they tried, it's not terrible. Let's see, let's plug this sucker in. One thing to note, I've read about this, if you plug in the AV cable, you lose the ability to use the controller parts on the unit itself. So you can't just plug this in, plug it to your TV, and then play here. What's really odd is that even though this is plugged in and outputting to the television, and it disables this control, the buttons and the control pad, it still outputs the image to this screen. Like always, doesn't matter if you're playing on the unit itself or if you're playing as a console, it always puts the image on the screen. Doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, if you're going to disable the controller, disable the screen. So, you know, if you're using it for without the AC adapter, with this, you know, in a pinch, like, why would you want to burn extra battery life on the screen that can't even be used? So that's kind of a weird decision there. So let me plug this in to an AC adapter or an AC outlet, and we'll give it a test. I will plug it in via the AV cable as well in just a bit, but let's just get it going. And again, on the front of the unit, it's really dumb, I think. And just make a knot. No, okay, I got it. All right. So it's plugged in, and let's turn the sucker on. Okay, I will tell you, I'm at a severe angle because this camera is mounted directly on top. I cannot see a goddamn thing. I see that it's on, but it looks horrible. I have to hold it like this. Okay, so what I'm going to use, I'm just going to stand up and play this way. I don't hear anything. No volume at all. There definitely should be some noise coming out of this thing. Nothing. Well, let's reset it. Or let's reseat it. Okay. What? It didn't even do anything that time. Is it on? Oh, garbage. Okay. Well, let's try. That is a little further. I don't know. How about Super Bomberman? You know, I wonder if you can put the not the turbo tap. That's for TurboGrafx. The multi-tap on here. I should test that. So let's turn it on. There is no volume on this at all. That is no good. Why is that the case? Is it because this is plugged in? Oh shoot. This thing is sensitive. Like, I just banged it around a little bit. Let's turn it off. I know it doesn't have probably any juice on it, but that's why does it have enough to even boot? No volume. This thing is broken. Why? Should I have read the manual? What to do if you get no volume? Wow, that sucks. I've heard about reliability issues with these things. That is not good. I can't imagine what I'd be doing wrong. I'm gonna read the manual, huh? Well, let's let it charge a little bit. Let's pour over this stupid manual. Ugh. Battery installation and charging. So, turn the SupaBoy handle with the LCD screen facing down. Carefully unscrew. Yeah, I can figure that out. Insert the rechargeable battery pack, close the battery cover, and plug that sucker in. Align the mini USB. Okay. Volume and headphones. To adjust the volume on the SupaBoy, on the bottom of the SupaBoy system, there is a scrolling volume controller. To raise the volume, scroll the volume control to the right, and to lower the volume, scroll the volume control to the left. To use headphones plugged in the headphone jack. This isn't rocket science, folks. Output into TV, plug it in to the television, and then plug it into here. With the SupaBoy system turned off, insert a controller into port 1. Note, inserting the AV cable only when the SupaBoy system is off to prevent damage and ensure functional gameplay. Some accessories may not be compatible. Okay. So troubleshooting. If the SupaBoy does not turn on, okay, no, it's turned on. If the screen turns blue, okay. If the SupaBoy does not read the cartridge, well, none of those are my problem. If the problems persist, contact support@hyperkin.com. Well, that was about as helpful as I thought it was going to be. How is there? No? Does that not fix things? Okay, I'm going to pause this video and hook this up to a television and see if I get any audio out of here. So I will be right back, and hopefully at least that works. All right, folks, I have an update for you. It does work with the TV out cable plugged in. I do get audio, and it doesn't actually look too bad from here. And both controller ports work. I already tested them out, but I want to show you what it looks like. It's going to be difficult to see based on capturing with the camera here externally, but it looks noticeably worse. So I've paused it here on Ryu vs. Ken on Ryu stage, and I'm not sure if you can notice, but how much more vibrant the colors are here versus here. They're much duller. And a more striking difference is if we go over here to my Super Nintendo Mini running the same game using RGB. Now, of course, that's not really fair. It's RGB. If we were going to compare, we should really use just an AV out for that. But it is, when I say it looks bad, it looks pretty bad. And like I said, in a pinch, it's probably okay. And that monitor, or the LCD screen built into it, looks pretty good, I have to say. There's not much blurring or anything. I can't really play it. Well, I mean, I could. It just wouldn't have any sound. But anyway, let me unpause it here just so you can see the gameplay. So, I mean, everything seems to work okay. So I'm playing one-handed. Let's see if I can do a combo. No, keeps throwing. Maybe if I wasn't playing left-handed. So yeah, well, throw works, right? It works. Sounds okay. Not really sure I'd be satisfied with it as a permanent solution for Super Nintendo, but it works okay. It's definitely serviceable. I would like to do a Dragon Punch with my left hand, even if I don't hit. There we go. Man, fierce, and it still doesn't knock down. Lame. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna try. So this isn't a total failure of a video. I'm going to try a SD2SNES Flash Cart on it and see if that works, because I know a lot of people want to know if that works, because I did, and I couldn't find that information anywhere. So let me pause this again and put in the SD2SNES and see if we can get it to work. Be right back. Okay, so I plugged in the SD2SNES Flash Cart. I haven't tried it yet, so I'm going to find out when you do if this works. The SD2SNES PCB is custom made, so it isn't the same exact size as the ones manufactured by Nintendo. And it's a little snugger, but it doesn't have too much trouble getting in there. Hopefully I can pull it back out, but it should be okay. So, well, let's find out together if this is going to work at all. Okay, well, about the menu. That may be hard to read. It's okay. So, it's up on here, and you can definitely tell it's a little washed out. While I'm at it, let me show you a feature of the MSU1, which is special mode that the SD2SNES has, where it can actually stream music off of the SD card and substitute the music from in the game. So, for example, this is pretty obvious, Rock and Roll Racing. It's a favorite of mine. It has Super Nintendo versions of Paranoia, Bad to the Bone, Peter Gunn theme, Highway Star. So let's see how it sounds with the MSU1 on the SupaBoy. So on the surface, that may sound like it's just a regular music. It's the actual song. That's cool because it's coming right off that SD2SNES. So here's a little bit. That's Paranoia by Black Sabbath. See, it's actual stream real music substituted for the in-game music. So normally, if you just hold down reset, you can go back to the menu on SD2SNES. So let's see if that works. No. Well, maybe. That just resets the cartridge. Okay, so it looks like the reset button only functions once you release it. On a normal Super Nintendo, if you hold down reset, as soon as you press it down, it resets the system, and if you hold it down for a few seconds, it actually resets back to the SD2SNES menu. If you just tap it, it just resets the game. So it looks like on the SupaBoy, you gotta turn it off and turn it back on, which isn't that big a deal. It's right next to the reset button. Try one more MSU game. Let's try. I haven't tried the Metroid one. So again, this is the Super Metroid with the music replaced with real. It would be like if you were playing that off of if the Super Nintendo CD actually existed. There's a skip. So this should be like orchestral music, like orchestrated. I'm not a big Metroid fan. I hate to admit that because it's such a beloved series, but it's, I don't know, it just wasn't for me, I guess.
The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
Come on, get in focus. I just want to start. Okay, that definitely doesn't sound like the Super Nintendo version. I picked a bad game because I can't skip shit. Wow, that sounds super awesome. So yeah, no problems with the SD2SNES, just problems with the sound on the unit itself. I'm going to take it back to Game Over Video Games and see if they'll exchange it for me. But I have a feeling they might not. They probably are going to refer me back to Hyperkin, and who knows how long that's going to take. But hey, you know what? You guys want to see one more? Let's do one more MSU1 game. I think the MSU1 means Media Streaming Unit. I'm not 100% sure on that. Well, these are pretty well known, right? Mario World themes. Yep. some of you might not even notice. It's gonna be hard to play one-handed. I'll try. Basically, you just gotta always hold forward and jump. And I'm dead. Anyway, looks like it works fine. So, yeah, it looks pretty good. The disappointment really is on the broken sound, but oh well. Anyway, I might update this video if I get the SupaBoy replaced, but honestly, probably not. Alright, well, hopefully you got something out of this video, and I'll be back with another video soon. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, I have a happy little epilogue tale to tell you about the SupaBoy. So after I recorded the videos, I was pretty bummed. I spent a good amount of time online searching for some way to fix the SupaBoy. Maybe it was a known defect or there was a way to reset it, but although I found plenty of people that had problems with the SupaBoy, nobody had the exact same problem I had, which was basically it was stuck in TV out mode. No way to control it with the onboard controller and no sound. So I finally gave up and decided to go to the Hyperkin site and contact their support team. And well, I was a little discouraged at first because when you open up a support ticket for an RMA or to return for returning a defective unit for a new one or replacement, it required you to upload a copy of the receipt. Of course, I don't have a receipt because I won it in a tournament at the Classic Game Fest, so I wasn't really confident that I was gonna get any help from them. But I emailed them anyway. I explained the situation. I explained where I won it, when I won it, just a few days ago, and just kind of hoped for the best. And then after that, I thought, well, let me see if I can contact the people at Classic Game Fest. I remember a few years ago, I'd contacted the folks at Classic Game Fest because I was interested in running a Street Fighter tournament myself back then. I didn't end up doing it, but the curious thing is I got an email from David Kalin, who is the owner of Game Over Video Games. It's a chain of stores in Austin and I think San Antonio, and I'm not sure if they've expanded to Houston or Dallas, but definitely in Central Texas, there's quite a few stores. They're their most prominent retro video gaming store in Central Texas. And anyway, so I noticed that David Kalin had written me back, and I'd met him when he only had one store, and a buddy of mine that worked with me, we would go down there at lunchtime and talk to him, and he was a really cool guy. So I remembered his name, and when he replied from a few years ago, I went back and searched for it, and so I emailed him, and I said, basically what had happened, that I had won it at the Street Fighter 2 tournament, and that it was broken. It's exactly what happened. And I asked him if there was anything that he could do. At the time, I thought that Game Over Video Games themselves had donated the SupaBoy, but it turns out he replied saying that Hyperkin themselves had supplied it. So that was cool, that Hyperkin had supplied it themselves. So I thought maybe there was a chance I was going to get support from them, because I didn't know at the time. I thought it was Game Over. But David actually stepped it up, and he contacted, I told him I lived in Round Rock in my initial email to him, and he contacted the Round Rock store and had them hold the last remaining SupaBoy that I had in stock, and told me to just go ahead and take my defective unit in, and he would take it in as a swap, and they would send it back to Hyperkin as defective. And that was awesome, because to Hyperkin's credit, I also got an email from them the same day saying that they would go ahead and take mine back and gave me an RMA to go ahead and do that, but it was going to take 5 to 10 days to do that, and if I didn't have any other choice, I would have probably gone that route. But thanks to David Kalin and the awesome support staff at Game Over Video Games, I went in there, they gave me no problem at all. They were really cool. They had to put it away for me. They let me try it out to make sure it was all working, and it is, but I'm going to show you guys anyway. So shout outs to both Hyperkin and Game Over Video Games for stepping up, and both of them offering to help me with my problem. So that tale aside, let's go ahead and power this on. It's probably going to be exactly what you think, right? It's a portable Super Nintendo. I've been charging the battery, so it should come up no problem. So a couple of things that I wanted to point out here before I end the video for good is that well, one, the sound is okay. It's a little tinny, but I don't know what you would expect. They're two tiny little speakers here on either side of the screen, and I don't know how well you can tell in the video because the microphone isn't that great, but it's okay. It's passable. If you're in a loud bus or airplane or anywhere else, you probably want to just stick to the headphones, but in a pinch, these would work. So let's go ahead and start it. So when you're in portable mode, this controller here becomes controller 1. And I have Super Bomberman in here because I wanted to try the multi-tap to see if it would support it. And the only game I had available to do that, I guess I could have done NBA Jam, was Bomberman. So let me, oh, I didn't want to do normal mode. Let me go to battle mode here. The game doesn't really cooperate. I have to hit select. Come on, select. There we go. Go to battle mode. And you'll see that I can't switch the other controllers or the other players to man. They're only either off or computer. So what I did, my stand here is on the course. There it is. All right, let me readjust this here. All right. Well, I have ruined where I think it was before. Oh, that's good enough. You can see my Neo Geo stick, my AES analog interactive. Actually, it's not AES, it's a CVS. My analog interactive stick is helping out in this video by providing support for the SupaBoy, so that I can show you this. I have an official Hudson Soft Super Multitap. That's pretty much only for me. It's only for 2 games. It's for NBA Jam and Super Bomberman. So if you plug it into controller port 1, it doesn't do anything because even on a regular Super Nintendo it wouldn't do anything. So I plug it into controller port 2. And let's do that. Okay. And there is a switch here to go from 2-player mode to multiplayer 3 to 5-player mode. So we have it on that mode. And I have 2 controllers. I could have got one more controller plugged in, but I didn't want to run upstairs to get it, and this will still prove my point. So I'm going to turn it back on. And by the way, if you try to put something in controller port 1, like if you want to play Street Fighter with 2 controllers plugged in and one person not have to use this thing, it doesn't work. This controller basically acts as a hardwired controller port 1. So this only works if you're using TV out mode. All right, so I have 2 controllers plugged into ports 2 and 3 on the multi-tap. And you'll see now you have the option for human for all those players that are plugged in. If I had another controller, it would make this one human as well. So just to show you it worked, I'm going to go ahead and continue. So this is player 1, the white Bomberman up in the upper left-hand corner, and it works perfectly fine. And then player 2 comes from the multi-tap. Let me grab that controller. So that's this controller here, and you'll see it moves the black guy. There's a black Bomberman. Okay, and then the other controller should control the blue dude in the upper right hand corner. Let me get that. And it's this guy, and there he is. So I can confirm, well, I killed myself, wasn't paying attention. I can confirm that the multi-tap works. I can confirm that SD2SNES Flash Cart works. So in all ways, this really does act just like a standard Super Nintendo. The video quality is a little poor for TV out, but it's not horrendous. So yeah, it's a pretty good product. I haven't tried every single possible game. Wow, did I win? I won without having to do anything but sit there. The computer killed himself and everybody else. Well, I killed the blue guy. But anyway, it was very impressive. The screen's actually pretty nice. I don't have a problem with the portable screen at all. So if you're using it, it's strictly a portable player. It's great. I can actually recommend this thing. Just make sure that if you're going to be doing Street Fighter and stuff like that, that you understand that the first player always has to use this controller here. But other than that, I have no problems with it. It's got headphone support, so the tinny music doesn't really matter with the tinny speakers. So yeah. Anyway, again, thanks to Hyperkin and Game Over Video Games here in Austin for being really supportive of the defective SupaBoy. And I know if you have any more questions on the SupaBoy, if I've missed something. Oh, obviously, before I shouldn't even have to say this, but I'll say it anyway. Light guns don't work because of the type of screen this is. You need to have a CRT. But other than that, you should be okay. Anyway, if you have any other questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to respond. All right, thanks for watching.